Hi, everybody. It's Betsy Davis, Chief Marketing Officer of Sandy Alexander, here for another amazing episode of Colorbar. As always, joined by Kim Updike.
Hi, Betsy. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
I know you're fantastic. I know we're both excited about today's episode.
Yes.
So excited.
So excited.
So, without further ado,
let's just do it.
Let's just do it. Yeah. There's way too much good stuff to talk about to listen to us. So let's do it.
So, Kecia Hielscher is joining us today. I had the pleasure of meeting at Women Leading Travel and Hospitality that we've talked about a couple of times on Colorbar, and it was again one of those moments similar to meeting Jen DePascal. As soon as we met Kecia, Patsy and I are like, we want to just come in and
can we hug you?
Come in and hug. I don't know. It was this immediate attraction. So thrilled, Kecia, to have you here with us today. Say a quick hello to the Colorbar community.
Hello, Colorbar community. Hi, Betsy. Hi, Kim. Warm hug right back to you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, we're super excited. So we've been trying to highlight folks on Colorbar that are entrepreneurs, have emerging brands, have made that transition from corporate to entrepreneurship. And Kecia is one of those fantastic stories. So to your point, there's so much
to unpack.
Yes.
From going
unpack and smell and touch and all the
packaging.
things.
Yes, we got a lot to cover. Love their packaging. In fact, I'm excited because my package is out for delivery as we speak, so I get to have a really good moment when I get home today, so I am super excited about that.
Formulary 55 is taking over. Taking over Sandy Alexander and Colorbar.
Yes.
So with that, let's just kick off with you talking to us about the Formulary 55 brand and a little bit about yourself and background before we get into all the nitty-gritty.
Ooh, okay. All the nitty-gritty. I love it. All right. Well, quickly, kind of just about Formulary 55. We're built on a very simple idea that caring for yourself should be a daily delightful ritual for your mind, body, and spirit. And that just kind of encapsulates everything that we are and are continuing to push and continuing to be as a brand. Kind of my background was I've been a merchant for 25 years, head merchant for a few different places and pretty large brands, places like Nordstrom, was a buyer for Williams-Sonoma for about 10 years, was head of home for Nordstrom for a little over 10, and then Luminex Home Decor and Fragrance. So that is where I learned all the fragrance bug, which we can kind of talk about later, and all the nitty gritty, as you say, about fragrance and what's involved in fragrance, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so what I learned there, I kind of took and decided, I really want to own a fragrance company. I love self-care. I love fragrance. I love business. So I would really love to do this on my own. And I've had the opportunity and the honor to work for some great brands and learn a lot of things. So why not me? Why not now? And apply it and go buy a business, which is what I did about 15 months ago. And it has been amazing and crazy and scary all the same time.
Yeah, but that's like good crazy. That's I mean, just being able to identify your passion, what you want to do, and then find a brand or a company that aligns with your vision and principles, and just going out and making that happen. Yeah. I think that story gave me goosebumps, Betsy. I'm telling you right now.
We keep getting goosebumps. We keep getting goosebumps the last couple of conversations. And one of the things that gave me goosebumps when Kecia and I were talking in Atlanta was, and I was saying this to Kim this morning, I want you to talk about this a little bit, is that you were very clear on setting the intention of what you wanted out of this next journey. Talk to all of us about that a little bit, because it was such a powerful message and something that I needed to hear, and would love for everybody else to hear that part of your journey.
No, thank you. I think it's sometimes just kind of hard to identify and stay in focus and be clear about what you want. I think there's first is figuring out what you want, which sometimes takes a little bit of time, months, years, it can, which it was for me. And then two, becoming really clear on what you want, just in terms of life values. And for my, second chapter, my two values that I leaned into and stayed very bullish about was freedom and flexibility. Those are two things that I was like, you know what, I need that now in my life. That is what I want. I've dedicated my life to so much in the past that really didn't have those two values in it. For anyone that's in a corporate life, like you understand that, obviously. So freedom and flexibility were the two things that, were kind of my stated intention. And then I listed, here are my top 10 things that I want in a company, and incorporating kind of the values as well as kind of what I wanted. Hey, I want it to be fragrance. Hey, I want it to be self-care. I need it to allow me freedom and flexibility. I need it to allow my staff some level of freedom and flexibility to improve their lives, and make their lives richer and better. So those are kind of some key tenets. So I kind of listed those 10 and then went through and, looked for different companies to buy. And if they didn't meet that, then I moved on, and I had to be really strong about that. And there were some moments where it was tough and be like, oh, no, I can fix that. But then I was like, yeah, I can't. I'm just going to remain strong to this and pass on some different opportunities, both in the corporate world at the time, which was where the clear intention kind of comes in, because I was getting corporate job offers to kind of go down that road. And I had to stay really strong and say no. And saying no is hard. It's hard to say no sometimes, even when you've got a lot of carrots dangling in front of you. So it was really clear to me that after I said no, that, I kind of leaned into the right direction where, where the universe, if you will, was kind of intending me to go. I just kind of followed that path. And that's kind of where the whole green lights story comes into play.
Yeah, so I love this too. So the green lights, and I'll let Kecia talk about this, but we were talking and she was saying I kept seeing all of these green lights. And there's a book that I love and go to all the time called Wishworks. And it's like a 21-day book that every day there's something that is asking you to kind of do on your journey. And so you're kind of supposed to set an intention that you want for the next 21 days. But one of those days, and one of my favorite ones, is called Green Lights. And it's asking you to look for all of the green lights, moments of yes and moments of little successes throughout the day to look back on. And so when Kecia said this, I was like, you're talking my language. You're one of my people.
You're my people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you talked about the book that Matthew McConaughey wrote as well. So talk about that a little bit
I've
too.
read that one. That's on my shelf. And that's one that you read more than once, kind of like whenever you feel like, am I stuck? Is it me? Am I looking in the right spot? And then it's like, let me get that off. Yes, people, I still read hardcovers. Let me get that off the shelf.
Before I let you talk about this, but also listen to that thing on audiobook, because he does the reading. And let me just sit there and listen to Matthew for an hour or two. Yeah, that's not such a bad thing. There's a green light.
There's a green light.
There's a green light.
How did you get
Matthew
here?
McConaughey.
I took this as a green light. You mean it wasn't?
Yes, but talk about your green light moments.
I learned about it through his book. So that's kind of where I learned the green lights thing. And yes, I agree with Kim. You've got to read that book, and it's definitely not just a single read for sure. That was kind of what inspired me. And I didn't really think about life as green lights until I read his book, and it put it a little bit into perspective and clarity for me. And then it became, as I, determined which business I wanted to buy. And that business, the business of buying a business is tough. There's a lot of areas where the deal can fall through, from the beginning until the closing. And that can, and you can close a business in a month or two, or it can be 6 months, or it could be 12 months. It really just depends on the process, the owners, kind of in all the elements that are involved in buying a business. So I had said to myself, okay, I found a business. This is the one that I want. I'm excited about it. I can grow this. I see a long runway. I can make it better. Kind of all the things that you're kind of looking for in terms of, can I influence this business? Can I influence the people that work there? And do things in a better way? And all the answers pointed to yes. So I told myself, you know what? Okay, fear crept in a little bit in spots for sure. Where you're just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then you go back to your why, and you go back to the freedom and flexibility, and, the second chapter of really kind of, why not me? Why not now? That's kind of what I kind of kept saying to myself. And had so many green lights and I didn't get any red lights. And I told myself that if I got a red light, I would stop and be like, all right, you know what? Then I'm not on the right path. And I didn't really even, I maybe got one yellow light kind of toward the end of the process.
Did you speed through it?
Whole way through where it could have fallen down was all great.
Kim just asked if you sped through the yellow light.
I did.
Let me get my foot on that accelerator. Let's go.
That's hilarious. Yes, I sure did, Kim. I sped through that.
Very good. I like it.
Yeah.
So you've talked about growing up basically in the corporate world, and now that you're in this entrepreneurial space and driving your own business, what have you taken from the corporate world that you've leaned into in this smaller space?
I mean, just everything that I've learned up until this point has gotten me here, and I've learned so many things. I would say a couple of examples, back to just, my first job out of UCLA, going to Disney and working for the Disney store, I learned about great guest experience. I learned about how to make sure that the experience is special, and that, the experience of, like, for us now and relating it to us in that example, our soaps are all hand wrapped. They are hand poured. We call it from our hands to your hands. The team takes great intention and care with the craftsmanship. With every bar of soap, it is literally touched by 3 or 4 hands by the time it kind of gets to you. So that little thing about the guest experience and the unwrap experience for when you receive it, Kim, in a couple of days, we want your experience opening it up to already be delightful. And then obviously bring that into your bath and body experience. I would say Williams-Sonoma taught me, retail is detail. Williams-Sonoma is extremely, extremely good at making sure the details are covered on things to a level that I had never really ever thought before until I worked there and was a buyer. So I learned all of that from them. And then I would say from Nordstrom, really kind of laying out strategic blueprint, the strategy, what the blueprint looks like for the course of 6 to 12 months and even up to 2 to 5 years, being very strategic. And then also customer service from Nordstrom, impeccable. So how do we make sure that our customer service is amazing from when you call us or email us or to when you open it, or if you have a problem or it didn't happen, we respond immediately, less than 24 hours at most if we're just super busy. But customer service is extremely important. So took that with me. And then, from Luminex Home Decor and Fragrance, I call that, getting my fragrance MBA. I learned all about fragrance. I had worked with fragrance for years and sold candles and bought candles, but I'd never made them. I'd never made things with fragrance. So I learned so much about, clean fragrance, what that looks like, what unclean fragrance looks like, and different players in the industry. So a lot of red threads kind of pulled through.
When you say clean fragrance, what does that mean?
Yeah, it means fragrance that is phthalate-free, paraben-free, dyes and filler-free, bad ingredient-free. So, no formaldehyde in there, no things in there that you would normally not think are in fragrance. There's a lot of things in a lot of fragrances that are not good. And you have to really dig in deep to the safety data sheets to figure out like what is actually in there. So I reviewed every single safety data sheet for every single fragrance that we had to make sure that they were all clean so that we can offer that, experience to our customer. But we vet out every single fragrance. We have an amazing couple of fragrance houses that work with us to develop fragrances, and we have very, very stringent clean criteria, similar to like a Sephora clean kind of branding that Sephora launched, which was really inspiring. So making sure that we are, and our products are too, held to those kind of Sephora clean standards that they set as a guideline in the industry.
Interesting.
That is very cool.
I was just saying to somebody today that one of the things that I've loved about being on Colorbar are all the little nuggets that I get to learn.
Yes.
So these little nuggets that we get to learn is great. And actually, I put a note down today to talk about product development. So you've now kind of touched on that a little bit. What's that journey like from you've got this concept?
Yeah, like where does the fragrance combination come
Yeah.
from?
So
how does that
talk
work?
about you and the team and how that all comes together for us.
Yeah, no, we are constantly playing around in the lab with kind of different fragrance combinations. So we'll kind of look and be like, all right, put a little of this together, put a little of that together. Oh, that's terrible. Moving on. Let's try something else. And we kind of do some of those iterations, sometimes up to 20, 30 times. Sometimes we just scrap it at 5 because it's terrible. We can't make it work. We're going to start with something else. So it's fun to like figure that out. And, the strategic timeline, that I kind of put together allows us to have time. We're not running. We're not trying to do things quickly. We're trying to take care with things. So that really allows us to kind of play. When all the orders are shipped out, we're able to kind of get into the lab and try a couple of things out and be like, all right, let's have some kind of creative time and figure things out. So the one that we just launched, we do kind of test and learns for 3 months of new fragrances on our retail site, just to kind of get a sense about, hey, is it selling? Did it work? We love it. We've approved it. We've all tested and trialed it for months. Does someone else like it? We think it's good enough, but we're going to do a test and learn before we roll it out to our wholesalers. We've got about 1,300 wholesalers in 49 states. So before we roll out to those guys, we want to make sure that we've got a great product for them to sell. So from my childhood, my mom in her backyard and our backyard kind of growing up, she had wild roses and we had a huge peppercorn tree. Just huge, like it overtook the backyard and just was beautiful with all the peppercorns kind of falling from it. And that was always a wonderful kind of nostalgic memory for me. And so I wanted to do something with wild rose and peppercorns. My mom passed away a couple, 3 years back. So this is kind of a little bit of that, homage to her. And so then we launched, and it's done really well, our wild rose and peppercorn soap. So that we're now selling for like a little bit of a 3-month trial. And that is literally, it came from just playing around with that nostalgia, that kind of idea to the finished product from soup to nuts. So, and that's kind of how we do it.
What a heartwarming and rewarding moment for you to be able to
be
see
able
that.
to do that.
Yes.
And to have it come to fruition and then,
Yes.
being embraced, by, your
Right.
audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing too. It's like, from corporate to entrepreneurship, this is like, you get to do what you want to do. You get to create what you want to create or not create what you just don't. And it's really fulfilling and rewarding when you see like the idea come to fruition in a quicker way than like, the normal like 6 to 12 to 18 months, product development timeline. Like you don't see it for, sometimes 2 years and you've been working on it. So to see that kind of come out and be able to really share it with the world and get it out onto prime time pretty quickly is pretty cool.
Well, you kind of also have the ability to be more nimble, right? So you're and flexible. So if you have an idea I would think to be able to put that in motion and, you have your team and you have your process, and then it's just like, okay, let's see where we can take this and how we can best bring it to market and just move it forward.
Right.
And be, when everybody's on board. So that's
That's
definitely part of the flexibility and freedom process.
And the freedom part,
yeah,
too.
Yeah, it's like the freedom to do it the way we want to do it, and the flexibility is right there along with it. So I think that ties well.
That's great. That's a really great call out. But when you just said 49 states and 1,300 wholesalers,
Yes.
which is amazing. What was that scaling process like? Because I'm assuming a lot of this growth has happened since you've taken over the business, but I'm sure there had to be twists and turns and all the things that happened to be able to scale. Talk a little bit about that journey.
Yeah. What needed to get done quickly was identifying what was going wrong immediately and putting a plan together to fix it. And so the couple things that kind of went wrong were, that we weren't shipping fast enough. So that had to be implemented very quickly. And in order to be able to do that, you need to have product, obviously, in order to ship. Folks aren't us, wholesalers, they're not going to wait to fill their shelf. They literally have an empty shelf to fill. And there are other brands out there that are fantastic to fill those shelves with. So immediately I was like, okay, well, nobody's going to wait for this. We've got to fix this right away. And just really identifying that out the gate and fixing that and making sure that we have the raw materials purchased, that we've made everything, that we've cured the soaps long enough so that then they're ready to go out. that we've wrapped them all because we hand wrap them, and giving time to hand wrap because we do it all carefully and thoughtfully. So it was really making sure that we set ourselves up for success with kind of that back end, boring, manufacturing process that nobody else really cares about. But in order to run a company, you have to do that back end well. You guys know that.
Yeah, I was good. Coming from a manufacturing
Yeah.
the background, can appreciate that very much.
Yeah, right? I mean, because you understand it's hard,
It is.
if you don't run out of color, you can't print the catalog. If we run
Right.
out of a main ingredient, we can't run either. Like we're like, all right, we're held until we get that in. And then you're calling and you're like, overnight it, hurry up, where's FedEx? You're tracking to try to get it in. And you're like, oh my God, the FedEx guy comes to the door, you want to hug him. You're like, oh my God, thank God you're here. So, and he's like, hello, good to see you.
Well, hello.
Yeah.
So, so super, that was a key part, is really kind of setting a strong foundation, because we can't grow on a shaky foundation. We had to stop and fix those things. So the first year was really about that, and just getting everything that the employees needed to be able to do their jobs, and to do it effectively, because that then would allow them to ship product out the door. Then that engages more reorders more quickly. It's a wonderful product where you're out, you need more soap, you want to reorder the soap that you love, or the hand cream that you love, or the body oil you love. So, we need to be ready to react. So those are a couple things that we fixed pretty quickly.
And you travel with yours. Don't leave home without it.
Okay.
There
we
you go,
ready?
people.
Are we ready for a little product moment? Okay.
We're having a product.
So we're gonna start talking marketing. So a little product placement moment. And I told everybody I was going to do this. I'm totally going to put on. So one of my faves, which I bought when I met, is the sea salt and lavender. And okay, so here's all the things. We travel. I travel a ton, and you get out of your routine, and you just kind of feel like sometimes you just want to be home. And so I find those moments of self-care when I'm on the road. Formulary 55 has become one of my little treat me moments when I'm in my hotel room and feeling kind of like I just need a little love for myself. And so in the mornings when I get ready, and at night before I go to bed, it's just kind of my little moment to take a breath and put it on and smell my sea salt and lavender. And it travels. It travels well. This is all beat up, so I apologize. It looks much prettier than this when you get it out of the package.
But that's loved.
But this shows that I travel with it all the time,
Yes,
and it's
yes.
hanging around in my little toiletry bag. But no, I love it. And so when you talked about one of your objectives of this brand is for the self-care and the delight and all of that, it brings all of that to me when I'm on the road all the time. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I do have some of the soap sitting in my place in Tulsa, and I remember the unwrapping moment, and I almost didn't want to unwrap it because it looks so
looks
pretty
gorgeous.
sitting on my
Yeah,
sitting in my bathroom. But no, I love it. So let's talk marketing, since that's what we do most of the time. You talked about the catalog, but let's talk a little bit about the channels that you talked about the wholesaling moment. So what does that look like from a marketing perspective whenever you're not necessarily brick and mortar yet for your own locations? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Distribution's a key channel for us. So the distribution with our wholesalers, the existing, the new that we haven't acquired yet, that's kind of really where our growth is. It was interesting because we kind of had a hunch, like, okay, people are seeing us out there, when we see people kind of coming to the website to purchase, but we're like, okay, where is that all coming from? So we started and implemented a post-purchase survey. And you said, hey, where are you finding us? And it was overwhelmingly in the cute little store in the Cape, on the coast in Oregon, in the cute boutique in Texas or Oklahoma, or in the really cute garden store, in Oregon, like I was like, a garden store in this really high-end pharmacy in New York, so it was interesting kind of coming in to kind of go, oh, wow, you know what? I just thought we were really kind of more here, but wow, we really have this broad appeal into many different locations where people are discovering us, and smelling and feeling and, trying things on. And then, we encourage them to go back to their local stores because we want to support local and we want to support, the stores that have it. But if they are traveling and they don't have a store local, then, they can certainly come to our website and shop from there. So we try to make the website experience easy and fun, and also exploratory to discover different scents that you might have. We just launched a fragrance finder this week, actually. So folks that kind of wanted to get a little bit more of an idea of like, hey, what fragrance would I like? Answer 4 or 5 questions, and it allows you to kind of helps to guide you if it's an online experience and you haven't tried the brand before, because obviously you can't smell it. You can read about it. And some things like sea salt lavender, you know what it's probably going to smell like. You love that. Other folks might be like, yeah, you know what? I'm not a big patchouli person, so the orange peel and patchouli is not for me, unless you smell it. Sometimes people are very surprised when they get it because they're like, oh, it's way better than I thought it was. And then there are people too that are like, yeah, you know what? That isn't for me. And that's okay too, because scent is subjective and we all should not be smelling the same things. It's very subjective. So, kind of through those channels, we really want to make sure that people kind of come back to us. And those are the 2 main channels, that we have now. And the tool that we're using, obviously for our wholesalers coming up, is our new Sandy Alexander catalog. So here's popping for you guys. A little preview of all the cool stuff we have going on.
Love that.
We are so excited and so proud to be a part of it. Yes.
We are so happy you guys are too. It's wonderful. So excellent. Thank you. And thank you for all the great tips of how to make the catalog better.
Oh, well, no, we're thrilled to be a part of it. And you said that we're also helping with your booth at an event coming up, doing some wallpaper. And what made me think of is that amazing wallpaper that randomly happened to be behind your pop-up that you did at Women Leading. And we were like, it was like this was meant to be your moment with it. Like it was like the wallpaper randomly kind of fit with her brand. It was really, really funny. But
that was like definitely one of those like, okay, I don't have to do anything. This is like perfect. Yeah.
This is going to work well. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm really excited that we get to be a part of the brand. So you were talking about how Nordstrom.
Just wait till I send you the picture this week, or in the 2 weeks when you see it on the wall. You're going to be like, oh my God.
I can't wait. And I'll be in Clifton soon, so I'll have to track down samples of the catalog and check it out. Yeah. So you talked about Nordstrom helping you have more of that strategic viewpoint. And one of the things that I'm curious about with you is when you look, and if you want to share, what is on the horizon? A year from now, 3 years from now, what big goals do you guys have?
Yeah, I think, number one, staying true to who we are no matter what. So I think that's number one. And that could be hard from a manufacturing standpoint, right? If we get a 10,000 unit order, you can't get it tomorrow. So we have to plan that out. So kind of slow and steady growth. And then pop-up shop, retail location. I think those are going to be 2 areas where we'd like to do that. We've dabbled at the travel and hospitality show for that you kind of saw us at, and we're trying to like create a scent experience, and so we were able to kind of gently do that there with 6 of our top fragrances that you could smell while you were there. How do we bring that scent experience into like a retail location in a bigger way that's true to us? Definitely have some ideas. Already have like the vision of what that will look like in my head, which probably you guys will have to help us with at that point.
We're here to help.
We're ready and willing.
Yes.
I know. It's great. And you make it easy. So I think those are kind of the 2 things, and trying also to increase distribution in the travel and hospitality side into like luxury hotels, boutique hotels. We're working on some Colorado hotels like in Aspen and Breckenridge, and, kind of some places like that where it really just kind of makes sense to have a guest experience with our small petite soap. And how can we kind of branch out into that channel of distribution?
I think I saw that you're actually registered to join our Glimpse event
Yes.
later this
I saw
week.
that. That was
But
exciting.
I know.
I was excited. I was like, yay.
But it is a big conversation, and we're seeing whether it's emerging brands or other brands doing
yep.
a ton of this. And one of the things everybody's talking about is creating these more immersive, to your point, to create this scent
experience
moment. Yeah,
moment.
a scent
Yeah.
experience. And it is about creating experiences and for people to really feel like they're a part of the brand.
And how it makes them feel being part of the brand.
That's right.
And taking that. And, as we've talked about, digital and the physical experience and how they're kind of coming together, and certain things don't translate online like they do in person, and just being able to have that sensory experience in person is a huge trend. So excited that we're going to be talking about that.
Yeah, it's well, and also the three-dimensional. So when you talk about us helping with the pop-up, some of the folks that are going to be joining us on Glimpse for panels are folks that are creating these amazing kind of three-dimensional, but it really feels like the brand come to life, whether it's pop-up shops or events and activations and things like that. So it'll be interesting and fun to work with you and the Formulary 55 brand to make that come to life.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited to kind of be part of Glimpse and really kind of listen and learn. There's some great folks on there. Because as we kind of put that plan together, what that looks like, that's not an immediate thing. Like, we will take the time to make sure that that's right. We certainly have some specific ideas around it. So put it out to the universe, see what we get back. But
There's going to be all green lights.
All green lights.
I'll wait for those green lights. Yeah.
We're gonna get some green lights. Well, listen, what other, I guess, as we wrap up today, and first of all, thank you again for taking the time and inspiring for me to see
inspiring.
and listen to your journey and to see a smile on your face, because you've gotten the freedom, the flexibility, and the fun that you were looking for. But for other people that are out there that might be getting ready to start their second chapter or are ready to take that leap,
Yes.
any other bits of wisdom or encouraging words to share before we wrap?
I think you got to really quiet yourself and really figure out what you want, and listen to your gut. I think it's just, sounds a little cliche, but I think that really is, like, if you quiet yourself and figure out what you want and be bold and look through the fear, as long as you feel like it's the right decision for you, and try it a little bit. Like, if there's an ability just to kind of test it in a small kind of way, whatever, it is that someone wants to be doing. If you try it a little bit, and just kind of test it out and it still feels good, there's your green light, right? And you go to the next thing and be like, all right, you know what? Maybe I'll start my side business at night that I am passionate about, whatever that is, but I'll keep working, and I might keep working for a year, but do it every weekend and start selling my own site online. And then after a year, it's doing well and it feels good and feels right. And then I quit my job and move to the next thing, right? So there's like phases of kind of how you're able to do it, but I think the biggest message is, are you happy? Does it make you happy? Does whatever you're doing make you happy? And if the answer is yes, then you're good, but if it's not, then that's when you kind of have to take that reflection and really kind of step back and go, all right, you know what? We don't live forever. So why not you? Why not now?
I love it.
I know, I do too.
Well, and what makes me so happy is that we now get to be a part of the brand alongside you, and can't wait to be a part of this journey. And thank you for agreeing to come on.
Yes.
And spend some time with us today. And I can't wait to see you again really soon.
Yeah, me too. Thank you both. So much fun. And if anyone has any questions about becoming, an entrepreneur or what have you, reach out. I'm happy to talk with folks about it.
Well, and then definitely go to formulary55.com and get all the scents, get all the flavors, get all the little
right.
self-care moments that you can possibly get your hands on.
Oh,
And
thank you
support-
so much,
and support
both of
the
you.
brand.
You were wonderful. Thanks, Betsy. Thanks, Kim and the team. Appreciate it so much.
Of course. Thank
Well,
you so
thank
much.
you.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody, for another moment at Colorbar. We'll see you soon.